Hey, what's going on, viewers of the tube? Tyler here of Chico Crypto, and we got another special episode for you. I got my buddy Bill over here, and we're going to go through some code. So, Bill, introduce yourself for anyone who, tuning into this type of episode for the first time.
Hey guys, good to be here again. Bill Petridis is my name. I'm a DevOps manager by trade and a crypto hobbyist, I guess, and recently started applying some of the concepts of code review to crypto because I guess with the market right now, we're trying to dig a little bit deeper and get a better understanding of what we think might survive and what might not, given everything's completely cracked out. So we did a video a couple of weeks ago where I went through some DevOps concepts, and this is a follow-up where we've done a lot more scanning, and yeah, I'm just happy to be here.
Well, this is great because, like you said, the markets are shit and crypto YouTube is shit right now. So let's get some good content for people.
Except for your stuff.
Well, crypto YouTube is just complete garbage. I mean, my stuff I'm trying to make better. So this is part of that better piece, Bill. Thank you for making my channel better, man. Appreciate it.
Hey, man. Always happy to be here. And look, the last video, I got a fair bit of good feedback, and it was great. And just remember, I'm not God's gift to programming, never pretended to be, never claimed to be. I'm learning just like everyone else. And, if you have any suggestions about what I'm getting wrong or what I'm missing, just let us know. I got a few posts on the last video saying what you guys said was shit. And I'm like, okay, cool. Well, what should we do differently? And then that was it. It was like radio silence. So,
yeah,
help me out here.
Help us out. If there's anything you guys think we should do differently, like me and Bill, we're going to put our both brains together and come up with, just some educated, content on what we see.
That's cool. And look, and the stuff that I'm going to go through today, it's not like I'm just doing it by myself. I ask people, I get second opinions. If I see something that I'm not sure about, I'll go and ask someone or jump on a forum and ask about it. So I don't just sort of jump to conclusions or anything like that. And everything's, I try to vet everything as much as possible, So,
yeah. So you do your due diligence, like people should.
I try to. Yeah. I try to. I just don't want to make outrageous claims. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into it.
Sure. And look, the tools that I use are all open source, and anyone can use them, and anyone can go to the GitHub. So there's nothing to hide here. I'm just showing you what I did and what I found. So I'll hit the share button, and we'll get onto it.
Awesome.
Try to keep this one a little bit quicker than the last one. That thing went for like an hour. I think that pissed some people off. So we'll try to be quicker this time, guys. Sorry it went for so long, and sorry for blinking so much. Working on that. And if anyone has any crypto t-shirts, I've only got like one that someone sent me, which was a spot coin one. If anyone has any crypto t-shirts I want to send me, that'd be great. I just had a new kid, so clothes aren't really part of my budget at the moment, especially with this market. So if you want to send me some t-shirts.
Hey, definitely. Hopefully some of the codes we review, they're like, hey, we'll send them a t-shirt for that. That'd be cool.
Yeah. So let's follow up on Tron. I mean, we did the Tron, scanned it last night. We did a Tron review last time, so let's jump into Tron. I've got a nice little sort of dashboard you can see here. So I'm just sort of adding projects as I get through them. Some of them I can't get into here. I'm using SonarCloud. Some I can't get into here because they're just too big, like your freaking elastos, which nearly blew up my computer. But what I found is good. It's just so freaking big. You owe me a beer for that guy.
That code.
I dug into that, and anyway, it doesn't matter. It's big. It's really, really big, which makes sense given that they're building a virtual operating system. So anyway, let's go and have a look at Tron. So I scanned it last night again. I used Jenkins locally to do it. It's a pretty standard way of scanning it. Let's see what's happening here. So yeah, still not in the greatest shape. Looks like in the last 30 days we've got 26 new bugs. Let's jump into the issues, because the issues actually gives you the full list. I'll break these down a bit. what it's explaining here. So this is an open source quality checker. It really just looks at what you should be, or how you should be constructing your code, and what sort of meets with best practice and what doesn't, and what could be, leveraged as a vulnerability. A code smell is not necessarily a bug. A code smell is it's where the scanner has looked at something and
it didn't smell right.
Well, yeah, it hints that there may be a larger problem underneath, but it also could be a red herring. So, but they still need to be investigated.
Okay.
So it looks like these numbers have gone down a little bit. I did notice after our last video, that was the last code push into GitHub. So
interesting. Wonder why.
Well, the timing's a bit weird. What would you publish that? It was pretty much the same day. So the next commit after that was, and it was a good commit too, right? I mean, it had an approval, it had comments, had some checks and stuff like that.
19 days ago, yeah, that was about.
That was when the video came out.
Yeah, like right when the video came out. It's interesting.
Yeah, so that's great. I mean, so that obviously took a look at that video and went, yeah, we probably need to start tidying things up a little bit. Have noticed that really nothing's gone in since then, though. So maybe they are following the dev process, which I had here. Maybe they are following this a little bit more stringently now, and that's why you're not seeing. Whereas before you were seeing, some days that were like, there were pushes every day.
Yeah,
and,
pushing it out, just no checks and balances.
Pretty much, and it looks like since then they've really pulled the reins a little bit, and which is a good thing, right? So they probably needed to do that. So hopefully that's helping them out. So yeah, I just found the timing quite funny.
Yeah, it is funny.
So and look, this thing will actually give you the amount of days that are allocated, because for each one of these things, it will give you a little time estimate of what's involved, and let's have a look through all the fields. There's a little time estimate next to every one of these. Some of these are just 5 minutes. It's just 20 minutes and all that. So it adds them all up and it puts a little sum here, and that came up to 145 days, which you can spread over multiple people. So, so that's what they're facing.
It's work, but it's doable.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine, and it looks like after they saw the video. That they've pulled up the reins and they may be following a internal process a little bit more closely, which is encouraging. So hopefully they get to. Yeah,
definitely interested to see what the next commits come out and what they look like.
Yeah, I was really upset that there wasn't one before today, because I was really excited to scan it again. But as soon as one pops up, we'll scan it again. And this commit did come out after the last video, so that's why I ran the scan again last night. So the results are a little bit different to last time, but it's still a uphill battle. You may find that the next commit, there's absolutely none of these, which would be ideal. So hopefully they can get there. Okay, next one. I wanted to go through. Let's not do Vechian just yet. Let's do Neo. So I did Neo because I like Neo. There's been a lot of fun about Neo recently.
Yeah.
So let's just scan it and get on with it. So I did Neo. Obviously, it's a lot cleaner than what we were seeing out on Tron. Obviously, there's still some work to do there. If you jump into the issues, including code smells, it's even if they were to investigate these, it might turn into red herrings. There's 13 days of effort there. I need to scan it again since they dropped in 2.92, which I'll bring up recently. Actually, while we're on that, let's just talk to what is happening with Neo at the moment. So look, we've done the scan. It's it passes as far as the quality gate is concerned. Now, this is just the open source quality gate. I'm not using any of my own rules. This is just the ones that ship with SonarCloud. So I ran it through. SonarCloud's happy with it. Obviously, no code is going to be completely perfect. There are always going to be some issues, but it's based on a ratio of how many lines there are and then severities of these issues, and it will give you a green or a red essentially. And that's why when you look at Tron, the numbers just got too high, and it just said, "No, sorry guys, go back and keep working on it."
Go back, work, and get it fixed.
Pretty much, yeah. And what's cool is when you tie this into Jenkins, it will tell you as well, which was part of the dev process that we talked about. So that's quite cool. So yeah, so I scanned Neo. I need to do another scan because they just released. Let me jump into Neo. They just did the 292 drop, which is good. Has a lot of fixes for spam and all the things that have been driving everyone crazy. I looked at the last commit, which was not long ago, pretty close.
Yeah, 19 hours ago.
Yeah, same level of detail.
And look at all that, the conversation that's going on with that. That's what I like to see.
Yeah. I mean,
is the back and forth between people, it's just not one or two people, putting their idea, making the changes, and then it goes through, because guess what? It's always going to go through. There's multiple people putting in their comments, going back and forth. And once they all usually come to a semi-agreement, it gets pushed through, correct?
That's correct, yeah. And that's what you want to see in a community project. So it's great that happened. And, I've just been getting a lot of FUD on some of the Neo TGs, and everyone's telling me it's dead and stuff. So we actually put together, because, there's a lot of information to digest. So we put together a little article with the help of Zen, who's another contributor. And it's right here. Maybe we can put the link in the video, because we're just getting so much fun about that there's no development, nothing's happening, and then you get Dar coming on. He's interviewed and he was talking about, I think it was Toy Ferraris.
Yeah, Toy Ferrari game.
Yeah, that just rolled my eyes. So Zen's helped out. We put together a little article, which is a breakdown of commits and where you can go and have a look at the change log of what's been going in. So, highly recommend anyone that thinks that it's dead or whatever, just go check that out. I mean, it's right there. He went to a bit of effort to put that together, because evidently it seems Dar is incapable of doing that for some particular reason. So, look, it's a community project. I don't give a shit. If he's not going to tell people what's going on, I'm quite happy to do it. And so was Zen. So, go and have a read of this if you're worried about Neo. This is a full breakdown of what's actually going on. It's a community. We can make it whatever we want it to make it. So just go and have a read. Here's the code. Scanned it. Looks fine to me. I'll do another scan soon. A few things to clean up. My code's perfect. And 13 days effort to tidy all that up. So that's Neo. Let's move on.
Looking a lot better than Tron's code. So yeah, let's move on to another project. What do we got next?
We can do your favorite, elastos, which nearly freaking blew up my computer.
Yeah, I would love to learn what we can find on elastos, because there was a little bit FUD on our cryptocurrency daily discussion today. So let's look into this.
Why is there FUD on? I don't get why there's FUD on elastos. I mean, if you want to talk FUD, what's going on in the market right now is a complete disgrace, right? You want to talk FUD? Let's talk about Bitcoin, SV, or whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, those right there trading IOUs on Binance.
Like, what? This doesn't even have a working chain. All right. Okay. So Satoshi's Vision, no working chain. And like, this isn't fun. This is just shit. There's a GitHub. At this early stage in Bitcoin SV's development, we're not accepting contributions to the project. We expect this to change. Like, was that part of Satoshi's Vision? A closed source. Like, come on, guys, wake up.
Yep.
Like, seriously. And this thing's pumping as well. Like, yeah, there's your FUD. Take that and smoke it.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of what's going on with any of that.
Well, like, we were nice and freaking just going nice and sideways, which was fine, and then all this crap. Okay, so I took a look at elastos. Thought, dude, it was way too big to pump through SonarCloud, because my internet connection is just not freaking big enough to pump it through there, and you'll see why in a sec. This is what elastos looks like. So there is 5.73 million lines of code spread across all these different languages. The majority being C++. It makes complete sense that this would be huge. I mean, you can compare it to the next thing up along, which was the next biggest thing I could find, which is the Etherium Solidity.
Okay.
And that's, it's 2 million.
2 million. Yep.
Yeah, we have 5.7 million lines of code here, and a lot of different languages. Which, I mean, these guys. This is more than just. I mean, when I open up the bonnet on this, it's more than just a crypto project. It's probably the most ambitious thing I've seen. It's huge. I was able to run that through a lower level scanner, which is probably still running. Is my computer gone? It's still going. Yeah, I had to run it through a lower level scanner on my machine, and it did produce some outputs. So so I scanned all the C++ and C code, and my outputs are here. So out of that 5.7 million lines of code, it found 107 errors and 120 warnings. And these are kind of your code smells in the potential of that. So it's a pretty good hit rate for 5 million lines of code.
So that's something not out of the ordinary.
No, that's well within. I mean, like I talked about ratios before, that's 5.7 million lines of code. It's still in a dev state, and you got 100 errors out of 5.7 million. Compare that to Tron, where you got 85,000 lines.
Oh yeah.
Or even Neo, which is much smaller. It's 20,000. It's a thing of ratios, right? So like with Neo, there's 20,000 lines of code. There's 10 bugs in there. It's going to say, well, that's definitely a pass. It's not great. I mean, it's saying there's room for improvement, but it's not a fail. I really wish I could get it through this quality gate, but I mean, if you look at the same ratios based on this, it's well within a level of quality, definitely. And I even put it out to a slightly bigger. So yeah, we 108 errors, 120 warnings, and 2,000 code smells out of 5.7 million lines of code. It's a pretty damn good hit rate.
That's good.
Yeah. So that's gonna pass every day of the week. Obviously, ideally they go and sort these guys out. But you can see when you got 100, it's not a huge amount of work. So that was a real pain to scan. So
I appreciate it.
Yeah, and I guess I can share the results and stuff like that. I mean, but look, I'm sure Jimmy and all that are doing this sort of stuff anyway. Running this tool is not particularly difficult, and it tells you what to do. It's just not as pretty as the online one. It's just that my crappy cable connections just was not handling the push up to SonarCloud. It would just time out. I'd let it run for like 2 hours, and it would just crap out.
So you couldn't do it through the web version. You had to do it on a version on your computer, correct? I
did. So what I'm going to try and do is stand up an Amazon desktop, which has got better bandwidth because I'm stuck on my 2 meg of cable. So see if I can get that pushed up. But anyone can download it. The tool I used was CPP check. The tool I used for the numbering is a little command line thing called clock.
Okay.
And I pulled the elastos master, which was Okay, this is the elastos master. This is what I called. So you can, yeah. So
anyone can do this themselves at home.
Yeah, it was this guy, the elastos OS, which is the operating system one, which is.
So that 5 million lines of code isn't all their code, actually, correct?
No, it's just this one, just the OS.
Yeah, because they have the runtime and all that other.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not getting paid to do this, so I don't have time to go through the rest of it. But I scanned the main one, right, which is the OS, and that's where the 5.7 million was, and that's where the results came from. So, I mean, I'm not really seeing anything particularly bad about that.
It's good. Good to hear. Good to hear. And I bet all the elastos holders are being like, "Thank you, Bill."
Yeah. Yeah, so look, I didn't see anything particularly bad about elastos. I mean, it's a really ambitious project. I would be patient if you're an elastos investor, because what they're building, it's beyond the scope of any crypto project I've looked at. It's huge, but I mean, because of its size, it's going to take time.
Yeah.
Right? So I would have a fair degree of patience with this project, and maybe park the wens for a bit, because this is not going to take 5 minutes to finish. But yeah, I was actually quite impressed with how much was in here, and I looked into some of these things, and the complexity was just it was beyond me. So I mean, and I watched the video with Jimmy, so he's better placed to talk about it. But from a pure code quality point of view, I didn't really see anything that raised any eyebrows. Okay, so we scanned Neo, and then I scanned Vechian, which was one that you asked me to do.
Yeah, let's check it out now.
So Vechian is actually incredibly clean, but there's a reason for that. So I mean, there's very little wrong here, but there is a reason why this is so clean. So Vechian is the core project is coded in Go. Now, so what they did is, when they forked from Ethereum, it looks like they've rewritten the entire Ethereum chain, or the code in Go. Now, Go's a language that I guess it's coding on Rails. It's a really, really good language, don't get me wrong. It's a simple language for solving complex problems. A lot of really good things are coded in Go, like Docker. Docker's a way to build a computer and ship it, and Docker gets used all the time. Docker's written in Go. But at the end of the day, okay, let me just dig into it a little bit more. There's a key concept when you're building what a framework's. I mean, this is meant to be a framework. A framework is software that you're meant to build on top of. You need to add a level of flexibility. Now, when you're coding in Go, it's like coding on Rails. Imagine you're on a train, you're going from A to B, you're going to get to B really quickly, but you can't really go left or right all that much. It's pretty rigid. It's a fairly rigid way of coding. Because of that rigidity, you're not going to see many bugs in here, because you can't type them in to begin with.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So you're always going to end up with clean code. Now, this is fantastic if you have a really well-defined project and you're going in a straight line and you want to get there and you don't want to have bugs that you need to deal with, but you also don't get a level of flexibility. Now, so what I'm not worried about this or anything, but I can see a few things that may be a challenge for people that are building on top of Vechian based on based on it being completely built on Go, and that's the fact that Go doesn't support a thing called generics. Now, generics are a way of defining data structures within a framework that are somewhat looser than what you would normally define. So imagine you have an instance where in code that, I'll jump into the Ethereum code for reference. Imagine you want to say, okay, in this particular area of the code, we're expecting some characters, right? But you're not going to define that down to the nth degree, like of exactly how these characters are going to be used. And that gives a lot of flexibility to people building on top of it, because they don't have to follow the same level of rigidity, and gives them, that freedom. And what I do see a lot if you have a look at generics, and a generic this is the syntax. If you have a look at, if you go through the Ethereum code, which this was written to replace, they use these a lot. So it does give people building on top of Ethereum a lot of flexibility. And I mean,
well, that doesn't make sense then. If what Vechain's new model is, a DApp platform, how does that give developers flexibility to build out?
I don't know the answer to that. And look, I've double checked this with a few people, and they tend to agree with me that you are kind of boxing people in when you do build it out on a coding for Rails. Don't get me wrong, Go is a fantastic language, but when you're building a framework, you want to allow a lot of flexibility to the people that are going to build on top of it. And it sort of played out a little bit. One thing I did find interesting is the Vechian WebKit, which is this guy. This is their libraries to aid DApp development on Vechain. It sort of makes sense that this would be pretty small, given that you don't have a whole heap of flexibility to build on that Go framework, I would think, because they'd probably be interacting with it mostly through things called APIs and so forth. So you're pretty much on a real coding for Rails type scenario. And I actually ran that through a scan, and I guess my main comment on that is it's really small. So that's
only 615 lines of code.
Yeah, that's the entire thing. Now, why it did throw a failure, I talked about ratios before, so it did pick up one bug in 600 lines of code. The Sonar quality profile will deem that to be a bug on the basis that it's there's so few lines of code in here. Now you compare that to Solidity, which I also scanned. This is Etherium Solidity. It's really good, actually, from a code quality point of view. That's
2 million.
That's the equivalent in Ethereum.
And not a single bug or a single vulnerability.
No, it's really good, actually. Yeah. Better than Neo. Yeah. I'm actually going to go raise a ticket for the Neo guys after this to go and clean these guys up, because there's just a few days effort in there, so hopefully they can sort that out once I've scanned the latest code. So, I just found that a stark contrast, that the DApp build kit for Vechain was 600 lines of Node.js code, which is essentially JavaScript, which is good too. I mean, it's a great language. It's very intuitive, very easy to use, as opposed to 2 million for Ethereum. So it looks like they're taking a lot more of a streamlined approach. One thing I did notice in here too, though, is someone else actually pointed this out, is this is actually licensed.
Licensed? Yeah. Is it it's under the GNU Lesser General Public License.
Okay. Yeah, we call it GLGPL 3.0, which has a license, essentially meaning that if you grab this and make changes to it. Now, look, guys, if I'm getting any of this wrong, please correct me. But if you were to grab this, make changes to it and want to run it yourself, you'd have to actually open source it and take the risk yourself. And I'm not sure a lot of people would want to do that. I found that quite interesting when you compare. Look, I'm just going apples for apples here, right? They replaced Ethereum, so I'm going to keep comparing with Ethereum. So when you compare that to Ethereum, so look, the Ethereum license, and this is what they built, or this is what they replaced when they did this exercise, was, and that's got a public license, meaning you can just do whatever you want with it. Obviously, this one doesn't. It's not a major thing, but it's just something that I noticed, that there is a level of license on it, which I don't know what to make of this, really. I mean, it looks like it's fairly rigid, and the way that it's been developed, which is good. But, because of that rigidity, like I said, you're going to end up with really good quality code because you can't type rubbish in to begin with. So there's got that positive going for it. But because of the rigidity, you're going to end up with a really reduced function set that you pretty much have to set here. And you're not going to give a lot of flexibility to people building on top of it. And that would that plays true when you look at the size of the DApp WebKit. It's really, that's really small. 600. There's not much in there. If you look at the code, there's really not much
there
in here.
Yeah, not at all.
There's their libs, some tests. That's it. I mean, look, this isn't FUD or anything. I mean, I'm just looking at it. I mean, go grab it, have a look at it yourself. I don't.
Yeah, well, when I did my vechain videos, I was mostly showing what was going on behind the back end with the shady marketing tactics. And
I'm not getting involved in any of that stuff.
That all kind of stuff, I was never saying the vechain code was bad. I never said that once.
There's nothing saying, I'm not saying it's bad either. It's just light.
You're just showing what is there.
Yeah. It's pretty light. It's light on. Very light on. Now, that might be a good thing. And then they may have a development process that I'm not quite aware of that does allow people to do what they like.
Interesting to look at. Might be interesting to look at some vechain DApps if they have any open source code out there.
Yeah, if you can point me at some, I'll take a look. Is there any?
The only one I could think that has some open source code would maybe be dbet.
All right, I'll take a look at dbet and see what we can see how they manage to build on top of it. They may have found
have some telling things.
Well, yeah. Look, I just found that the choice to use Go for the framework itself is going to. You're not going to be able to handle generics, which are used a lot in Ethereum for flexibility, and you may be boxing people into taking a similar kind of rigid approach, which is good for rapid application development. Don't get me wrong, you're on a train, you're going from A to B, you really want to get there, but if you really want to go left or right or back it up a bit, do something completely new, it may not give you the level of flexibility that you need. Feel free to debate me on that. I have ran that concept by a few people and they tend to agree. And especially for crypto where, it's sort of a choose your own adventure at the moment where we're trying to figure it out as we go and this stuff is really new. I just found that to be quite an interesting choice. But at the end of the day, going down that path does mean it does produce, very clean code.
Well, hell yeah. Well, taking a look at all these different projects, Neo, Vechain, Tron, Elastos, and even Ethereum. This is going to give people more of a vision of what's actually going on the back ends, and I'm sure everyone's super appreciative of it. Yeah,
that's fine. Look, this is becoming more and more important right now. Especially with the way the market is, because this is going to determine what survives this really bad market and does well when all the shit coins are sort of dead. The same thing happened with the first .com. The stuff that survived kept going and did really well, and everything else just went the way of the dodo. So now's a great time to be doing this stuff.
What would be cool is a tool that could take code automatically and run it through SonarCloud and continually update a chart like this for all crypto.
I've got that tool. It's called Jenkins. I already use it. This is what's generating this stuff.
Okay, but online, like a web portal for people to go check that out.
Well, by the way, guys, this is all public. These scans are all public. Anyone can go look at them.
Yeah, but a lot of people just don't have the skills. If they had something where they could just type in a web address and check out every crypto project, not every crypto project, but most of the big ones and see what's actually.
You can look at mine. Anyone can go to this.
Oh, really? That's
awesome. Yeah. I've kept it public, man. I haven't locked any of this down. Anyone can go in here.
Awesome. Well, hey, I'll add that link in the description. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Go and have a look. I made this public. That's why in the previous video I was using SonarQube, which is my own machine. With this one I'm using.
So this is a cloud version. Awesome.
Yeah. I thought I'd put it up here so then people can just go and dig in and have a look themselves. Because I mean, like after this video, I'm going to go raise a ticket and point the Neo guys at this, and without it being public, I can't point them to it without. Well, I can't point them to it if it's not public. So,
well, hopefully we get thousands of views on this. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be going to it.
Yeah. I'm just going to keep adding to this. So yeah, just check it out. I mean, I don't have any ads on here. I don't make any money from any of this. So this is just a pure community service, right? So go easy on me, I guess, out there, because this is just for everyone's information, really. So.
Well, I can't thank you enough. Like I said, this kind of content is only going to make my channel better. Bill, I seriously appreciate it so much, and I'm sure everyone, the whole community does too. Every one of these project supporters should be thanking you for this.
You're more than welcome. And you might actually put me in touch with Jimmy. I can figure out how to get this guy up there as well, because it's just so friggin' big that it completely nuked my network. Maybe he's got a better connection or something like that.
Yeah, I'll definitely talk to Jimmy for you. I'm sure he would be more than willing to help. He's actually pretty busy right now because of all the stuff going on. But
I can imagine he would be. I mean, there's 5 million lines of code. And like I said, it nearly blew up my computer scanning it. But look, I mean, anyone can do. I mean, if you want to repeat what I did, all you need to do is download a thing called CPP check and go and grab the Elastos OS, which is this repository. Literally just grab it, download it, and stick it into this tool, which will scan all the C++ code, which is the vast majority of the code that I gave you in the breakdown, which is here. You can see that's the vast majority of it all. And it will produce results. I guess I could always just scan out the JavaScript. Let me do that. I mean, look, the core logic is in here. This is what you really want to be scanning. So, anyone can download CPP check. Anyone can go and grab the Elastos OS GitHub. I mean, you don't even have to have Git installed. You can just download it as a zip file. You can run the same tool over it, and it'll give you the same results. There's nothing for it. And the counts, when I did the counts, I just used a little thing called clock. Again, it's just another free tool that you can literally run. You just need to run clock with a dot afterwards, and it'll just scan everything that's in the directory you downloaded.
Awesome. Wow.
Yeah. And you can do this for any repo, right? So just do it if you just want to run it on your local computer. Go nuts.
Sounds good. Yeah. Well, Bill, right. I appreciate it as always, man, and I can't wait for our next code review because I'm sure you're going to have some more stuff.
Yep, definitely. I'm just going to keep adding to this. Right? I did Apex as well, which is someone asked me to do. Because it was a different language, and that project seems to be going okay. That's pretty clean. Quite a small repo, but yeah, no, I'm just going to keep adding to this. I'm going to do Travala next as well. So I'm just working with the guys to get the code because they're sort of busy delivering the next iteration of this. So we're going to do that at some stage once we get it out. Once I do that publicly. Yeah, and then if you have any ideas of ones you want me to take a look at or ones you're interested in, just let me know and I shall scan them.
Awesome. Well, I can't thank you enough. You're the man, Bill, of course. And until next time, we'll be seeing you later.
See you, mate.
See ya.